Hey guys, this is Matt with M&H Plus Daughters Apiary. People's been asking me to do videos for a little while, and for my first one I wanted to do one that I think was one of my biggest struggles when I started beekeeping, and that was for the terminology. I think the terminology can be really confusing because so many things are referred to in different names, such as, you may hear complete hive, a single deep, a nucleus colony, a 10-frame Langstroth hive, a Ware hive, a top bar hive, a horizontal hive, and I won't get into all of those. I'm just going to talk about what I have, but I'm going to go over what they're called and what I call them and the reason why I call them what I do, because I think it simplifies things when you're talking to other people. So this is typically what's referred to as a complete hive. So what you have here is a bottom board, and then you have two boxes, which are the bottom two boxes are typically referred to as brood boxes. And then anything above that's typically referred to as a honey super. So what I would call this is two deeps and a medium. And the reason being these are 10-frame Langstroth hives, like I mentioned, I think. So when you measure from top to bottom on these two boxes, the height is 9 5/8 inches. And then on the medium box, it's 6 5/8. So I think when you refer to them as deeps versus mediums, or brood box versus super, I just think it's a little more simplified if you call them a deep and a medium, because these two don't necessarily have to be called a brood box. Some people choose to have just one brood box and then honey supers above that. And that's a little different conversation. But the big thing I want to hit home is there is a difference. So when you're looking to buy bee boxes when you first start, when you're looking at a brood box that typically should be 9 5/8 inches tall, so you should have two of those, and then above that it could be more deeps, or more commonly it's going to be a honey super, which is 6 5/8 inches tall. And that's pretty much what you need. So here is another example. This is what's called a pro-nuke box. So it is a nuke box, and the reason why we call them that are it's commonly known to run nucleus colonies in these, which are starter beehives. So this is a 5-frame nuke box. It's a pro nuke box. So if you look here, these boxes are really nice. So they have feeder ports on both ends, one for a smaller bottle and then one for like a larger Gatorade size bottle. And you can put sugar water in to feed your brand new nuke when you get it. And then they also have entrances on both sides you can open and close. It's really nice when you transport the bees. You can lock them down, and a lot less likelihood that the bees will get out. I still put a little piece of tape on them just to be safe. So what you'll have here is 5 frames. So this is one thing that's really important, why I went over the sizes of the boxes. So why is that important? So when you buy a 10-frame deep box, or you might see it online listed as a brood box, it's common that a brood box is a deep, but on the internet you never be too safe. So that's why I say you want to make sure your bottom box, and preferably your bottom two boxes, are that 9 5/8 inches tall. So when you buy the frames for those boxes, you can see there's not a lot of room for error. So this is what actually sets inside. There's 10 of these, and this black part here is called foundation. Not everyone chooses to use this, but this is pre-waxed foundation. And you may be able to see the little dimples here, and that's just a little starter for the bees when they start building their comb. Here's an example of one that's partially drawn. You can see the difference. Because then some people choose not to use the foundation, so they'll have just like a little starter strip up here instead of this whole piece. And what the bees will do is they'll start on that starter strip and they'll just draw it out. Whether you do that or not is personal preference. It's a little safer to use foundation in the bottom box or two because they're heavier with the brood. And if you do have foundation, you know, you're doing flipping and whatnot while you're doing your inspections. The new comb can crumble and fall out. So with the foundation, it's a lot easier, especially when you're first starting out. So a couple other things you will need when you first start off is you will need a hive tool. And basically that'll help you pry the frames apart once the bees have glued them down. So usually, you know, you'll pry them apart, and then this J-hook, you can hook them on the sides because so there's not a lot of room. So you can see here, you can use that little hook, you can pop it up. Not everyone uses these, but these are my favorite. And what I really like about them also is the fact that, you know, the bottom end is painted. Not that you couldn't paint any of the other ones, but you tend to lose these here and about, and they're a lot easier to find when they are painted. So hopefully that will help you understand some of the terminology a little bit better. I'm sure the video isn't the greatest. I do stumble on the words a little bit, but hopefully as time goes on, I'll get a little bit better. And hopefully you learn something. And I appreciate it if you like it. Give it a like and a share and all that. Thanks.